More than 60 potential Republican candidates in our area are being told they are not eligible to run on the Republican primary ticket in May because they are what's called bona fide Republicans, and that includes some incumbents. News Channel 11's Karen Jenkins has been digging into this seemingly little-known excerpt from the Tennessee Republican Party bylaws and tells us more. Karen?
Yeah, the bona fide rule has been in the bylaws for years that you have to be one to run. But in December, the State Executive Committee of the Republican Party amended its bylaws to enforce this rule more stringently. Jason Walden says he considers himself a lifelong Republican, and he's got the voting record to prove it. Showing off a printout of his past ballots, it's straight R's. Walden announced in October that he planned to run on the Republican ticket in the May primary for Sullivan County's 6th District Commission seat. But according to the bylaws of the Tennessee Republican Party, Walden is ineligible because although a conservative, he's not a bona fide Republican.
It was frustrating knowing that I voted Republican since 2004. Supported nothing but Republican candidates ever since. So it was very frustrating. The party I've supported for many years, and I'm not able to run as one.
According to the bylaws, a bona fide Republican is an individual who is actively involved in the Tennessee Republican Party, is registered to vote in their county, and has voted in at least 3 of the 4 most recent statewide Republican primary elections. It's the lack of voting in the primaries that disqualifies Walden and about 60 other prospective candidates in Northeast Tennessee. Some of them are incumbents in their elected office. State Chairman Scott Golden says there's a high emphasis placed on exercising your right to vote in all elections in the GOP.
It's a good process, and I hope that ultimately what comes out of it is people understand that the Republican Party places a priority on voting. You get everything you want in the Republican Party if you show up and vote. That's the qualification.
Golden says the bona fide rule has been around for nearly a decade, but what changed in December is the appeal process. Previously, a candidate could still qualify if they had another bona fide Republican vouch for them. Now, a waiver may be issued by a 2/3 vote between the state chairman and each committee member who represents that candidate's district. The state is divided into 33 districts for the Republican Party. But there's no standard for why a waiver will be granted in the bylaws, and committee members seem to have mixed opinions about whether or not they'll issue a waiver. In District 4, which includes Sullivan and Hawkins County, committee member Matthew Johnson, who is also running for the District 6 commission seat, says the most fair way he knows to do it is to not issue any waivers.
So my stance is basically the fairest way I could be is to go by the bylaws, black and white. And that's the formula of the 3 or 4 last primaries, and are you active? No waivers, just sticking to black and white bylaws.
Many candidates who don't receive waivers say they will run as independents, including Walden. But some wonder if having 2 conservatives on the general election ballot, one Republican and the other an independent, could split the vote and hurt the Republican Party.
They're still having the same values. They're conservative, they're Republican. They just moved over because they didn't meet the candidacy requirements.
Johnson feels after the August elections, the state Republican Party may need to review this rule change. Walden agrees and says he understands the thoughts behind it, but there's flaws with the current model.
I think it is to keep folks from running as a Republican that may not represent Republican values, and that's certainly fair. I think it deserves a process, but just a better thought out process.
Now, as you know, primaries don't happen every year. So with this current rule, if you wanted to be eligible to be a Republican on the primary ballot and you never voted in a primary, it would take you 6 years to meet the requirements of voting in those 3 primaries. I'll have a whole lot more on this, on what other district committee members are saying about the waivers on our website at WJHL.com. Sarah?
Karen, thanks. And remember, we are your local election headquarters. We'll have the information you need to know on local candidates and important issues that matter to you, both on air and online.